how to make this video. It's been a hard holiday. I know that Christmas and all the holidays that come with that are not always happy times for everybody. And this year, that definitely rang true for my family. Losing somebody is never easy. But I think it's equally, or even maybe more, difficult for your brain to get your mind around it, to be in a position of a mindset of cheerfulness and celebration and coming together, and then the whiplash of having someone ripped away from you without any warning. I spend a lot of time talking with people about grief, and it seems to be this, I don't understand it, this taboo about talking about it, talking about what this process is like, what it feels like, just the whirlwind of insanity. I'm definitely no stranger to grief. And I know that everybody's process, everyone's experience is different, yet in a lot of ways similar. I think one of the things that made this particular loss hard to fathom, hard to know what to do with. I have two nephews, very young, who will no longer have their mother. And seeing their pain, their confusion, their shock, that's a wound that is hard to describe. I'm not going to apologize for having emotion in this video, because this is an emotional topic, and I think we should be allowed to be sad, hurt, feel those uncomfortable emotions. And one of the things that I talk to people about is, and this is something I shared with my nephew, the deeper the love, the deeper the pain. And for those little boys, I definitely saw that happening. So we shouldn't stop loving someone just because they're not here anymore. And when we don't know what to do with that love, when we don't know where to send it, it's like, I imagine it like we are all connected by these threads of energy or soul, or I don't know what to call it, but I really feel like that once we come in contact with each other, once we have those relationships, that we are bound in energy and love and whatever other emotions come along with that. But to have that line cut between the physical worlds, it really is like your soul is searching for something that isn't there anymore. So it's like running around lost, trying desperately to get somewhere but not knowing where to go, needing something but not knowing what it is, wanting to say something but not having words. It's a very helpless place to be. It's a very helpless feeling to see people that you love so dearly hurting, and there's nothing that you can do about it. You can't change it. You certainly can't make it better. You can't bring them back. I saw a lot of interesting behavior as I engaged people during this process of traditional grieving and ceremony and burial. And it was quite curious to me. You know, I recognize both sides of this situation as a griever and a comforter. And no one, I just don't believe anyone has any words to convey the sympathy, the sorrow. And so it can be very complicated to come to somebody and try to offer comfort and support. And I really feel like you don't have to have words, because it isn't our job to make it better. It's our job to be there for that person, to know that they are loved, to know that they are not alone. And sometimes that looks like just sitting with someone, a hand on a shoulder, holding a hand, crying together, telling stories, memories, giving that space. I also feel like a lot of times whenever we lose someone, and at least in this Western society, it feels like people stop talking about someone just because they died. And I hear people say things like, well, I didn't want to make it worse. I didn't want to make them sad by bringing it up. And you can't make it worse. And they are going to be sad. And that's okay. I know the wind's picking up, and this is probably not going to make for very good video footage, but I still wanted to talk to you today. And I sometimes feel like I don't really know who to talk to about some of these things, because people are uncomfortable. And I know that the end goal is, whenever we think of the stages of grief and healing, and, or maybe you don't know, I don't know. That the process means getting to acceptance. That once our minds and our hearts can find that understanding that this person is no longer with us, that they live within us in a different capacity, that healing can happen. I don't think that healing really happens. I think we learn how to cope. I think we learn how to continue on. We're changed. We're forever changed when we lose someone. And I think the quest then becomes, who am I now without them here? What does life look like now that they're no longer a part of it? What do children do without a mom? So I wonder, what's your experience with grief? This time I feel a little lost, I feel a little helpless, because I can't change this for those little boys. I can be there for them, I can give them space to talk and memorialize their mom and years and years and years to come. I know when I lost my dad, it wasn't sudden. It wasn't something that I was blindsided by, but it didn't prepare me for what the world was like without him. No matter how much time I had to think about it, to know it was coming. And I was angry. I was so angry. For a year, I was angry at God, the universe, whatever construct creates suffering. And I think the thing that helped me come out of that, I'm not angry anymore. The things that he went through, the things that I saw, the things that I learned haven't changed. They're still horrible. But I'm not angry anymore. And I found my way back out of that anger by practicing gratitude. And it was the smallest, tiniest things that I had to start with. Like whether or not the remote worked today. If it actually turned on the television, I would say thank you. Because most days it doesn't, just so you know. So little tiny things that didn't matter, I could say thank you. Because if I put my energy into things that did matter, my expectation was already too high. And if I had the expectation that something worked out in my favor, I was going to be disappointed. I just knew that. So I started with that small, tiny gratitude. And I started to find that the more days that the remote actually worked, I smiled. I laughed a little, kind of like now. And I would always find myself looking out the window at that moment, like, I see you. You know, it was an acknowledgement that good was still happening in the world. And I know that with each passing day, these boys are going to find good in the world again. They have their dad, my brother, as he tries to find his way. And I know that they have each other. They have a lot of love around them. A lot of people don't have that. So I can be thankful for that too. That they're not alone. Grief is so complicated. What are your experiences with grief? How do you find your way out? Where do you find your comfort? I came here today to the lake because nature is like a big hug for me. I feel grounded. The world feels real here to me, where I can sit and talk out loud and say things that I would never say to another person. And I get to share that with you. Something I'm learning. So thank you for being here. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. I know this is kind of rambling, but that's where my thoughts are right now. Everything is just so jumbled and confusing and racing. So try to go to sleep at night. All of this stuff will come flooding in, and I'll have so much to say and things I want to write down, and things I want to share, and I just need to go to sleep. Remember to live. Love those people around you. Hug them. Tell them you love them. Don't wait. If you're mad, be mad. It doesn't mean you have to hate. Try to find that thread of hope. Regrets come up a lot. Do the best you can. We're all just doing the best we can. Regrets are just stumbling blocks. They're attempts to go back and rewrite a story when this is your story. We're all fallible. We all make mistakes. We all have feelings. We all get angry. We all say things we don't mean. Or maybe we do mean them. And they need to be said. I don't know. It's just okay. Show that kindness every chance you get. Suffer together. Grieve together. You don't have to be alone. And I think the biggest thing that matters is to feel it. To not run from it, to not try to cover it up. I heard someone dear, dear, dear to my heart. Every time these little boys would become upset, they would want to buy them something. Give them a gift. Cover it up. Make the pain go away. And I get it. I get that love. I get that desperate want for these children to not hurt. But we can't cover this up. They need to feel that. They need to let that love out. We all have different customs and beliefs and ceremonies and ways that we grieve, and I think those are profoundly important. Place to gather and talk and cry and rage and laugh. But what happens after everyone goes home? When you're left with your thoughts, that empty space on the sofa, that empty space in the bed, that phone that doesn't ring, the clothes in the closet that no one wears. That's another part of the journey. Trying to sort through and find meaning in things, find positive ways to pay things forward. Allowing memories, good and bad. And that can be really difficult whenever you're the one left behind. Trying to figure out what the world is now without someone in it. So I started off with gratitude, my story of finding a way to pick out the small things that matter. Maybe they don't. Gratitude isn't just an anchor or a grounding. It is a point of view. It's a way of seeing the world. It's a way of seeing each other. It's a way of seeing ourselves. If we can be thankful for the time we have with each other, for the lessons learned, for how someone changed us, the gifts that we take from knowing someone, from having them in our life. I feel like that transcends time. I feel like that's a gift that we can give to those we've lost. Our gratitude for them, our gratitude for how they made us feel, good or bad. Our gratitude for how we learn to be with them, how we respond, how we love, how we argue. How we celebrate. So I hope that whether you're grieving or not, that you will find time in your day, every day, for gratitude. It's easy to think of big things like your family, your home, your job, your health, your wealth, your friends, community. I encourage you to look a little deeper, maybe go smaller. What are the things that you've encountered in your life that changed you, challenged you? Maybe things that you didn't ask for and certainly didn't want. How did you come out on the other side? How did you grow? So today, one of my gratitudes is having you here as an audience, someone to talk to. I know I can talk to my spouse, I can talk to my friends, I can talk to a therapist, but I don't know if I'm always honest. I feel like I'm always holding something back, trying to protect the other person's feelings, trying to not put too much on someone, not wanting to share that pain. Pain isn't something we want to give away. It's something we don't want anybody to feel. At least I don't. And I don't want you to feel it either. But I feel like you're here by choice. You're not here out of obligation because you love me or you're related to me or you're sitting at the dinner table with me. And you're here because you choose to be. And that means a lot. I'm still learning. I'm learning to talk. I'm learning to open up. And as I talk, we're going to learn things together. These are thoughts that I'm just now getting outside my head, and they sound so much different when I say them out loud, which is a good thing. Hug your loved ones. Take that moment. Hold someone's hand. Love each other. Thank you for being here. I'm going to get out of this cold wind and go for a walk, clear my mind, practice some gratitude.